It's another edition of Checking In with Hein and Johnny, where the hosts bring in mystery topics that neither host knows anything about until the mics go hot and on the air. We are the show that keeps the host from talking about the weather and World War II 24 hours a day. Hey, Heiny, man, what's on your mind?
Surprise me with something fun? Oh, no. You got production value. Now, do we want to give out some Heiny Awards?
Isn't it our Oscar episode?
Well, you should give out the Heinys.
Oh, don't worry.
Oh. You have it covered. We'll see. Heine, you keep bringing it, brother. There's a little something special in the air today, I see.
Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
They like me. They really, really like me.
Get off my face.
You are reminding me that our 6-month anniversary is upon us, Henry, and we really should celebrate some awards, and we should give out the Heine. And it will be bestowed by the Academy, which is made up of two associates, 2 members. That would be you and I.
2 judges to control it all.
It's the Heiny Awards.
Thank you.
So, did you ever win any big, like, science fair awards? What is there an award you ever won in your life?
Johnny, I did win the PAC Grand Champion in the cake baking contest. And you, I was PAC 659 Grand Champion.
That's crazy awesome.
Mm-hmm. How about you? What special awards have you received?
Well, I also was in the cake award running in my pack, and I have a wee bit of a story for this one. It comes, as you may know, Gerda was not necessarily the most attentive mother in the world. So I did not get much help from her on scouting activities. But on this particular day, my sisters helped me bake a 2-layer cake, but I had no ride to the Cub Scout ceremonies for the cake. So I had to walk, and by the time I had walked and tried to hold up the cake's first top had slid on this part of my arm. So now looking back, the leaders of the Cub Scouts were always extremely sad for me because the cake, I may have even said, "Do you think my cake will win anything?" as they tried to smear the top bun onto the second layer. They probably had a lot of empathy for the little orphan Annie boy that had no help from his mommy. Looking back, my mom probably could have had a little more attention to the orphan that she had. So, but coincidentally, I did not win that, Henry. No win.
No special.
No, the only thing I won we had we had place setting. I know this sounds a little odd in retrospect. In home ec, which I took in high school for many years because, well, you know me, so you know why I took home ec.
See,
Easy C, baby.
students get degrees.
And they did place settings. So my adorable wife entered usually two versions. So she won these place setting things all the time. Well, I won in my senior year because I used my own place setting stuff. And again, Gerda didn't spend on cutlery or plates. So I just put the cutlery in the garbage disposal and then yanked it out and then punched a hole in the plate and then gave it that junkyard dog look, and I won the precursor to the Heine. I won that year. I got a box of chocolates that had been bitten. All of them had been bitten half in. I died laughing. I couldn't believe the teacher was that funny. It was hilarious. It was a hilarious award. It was my Heine. And what would that have been? Would that be 81-ish? Did we graduate in 80 or what year?
81 is when we graduated.
81.
81. So, Johnny, was that the crowning achievement of your high school career? Were there any other awards, perhaps?
No crowning achievements. I dressed as a woman for the Lana Shea, the Lana Shea.
A lingerie?
I was a lingerie. That was so I looking back, I did have some fun. They were willing, all the girls were willing to give me the outfits. None of them fit. I was oafish and unpleasant. I had odd bulges, which one of the photographs at the top of the show shows me with this humongous face that I own with this horrible hair. And anyway, none of them fit. So I had to create my own lingerie outfit for the dance number. But looking back, I did have some good times in high school.
I think every day you were having
I did not treat it as my sisters did. Let's just say that. Or you. No. I tried to ruin you, but you would have none of it. Anyway. Is that the only award? Did Cake win in the Cub pack? Is that the only award you got?
That's all I've got.
How about were you ever a judge? Did you ever judge a big ceremony at any point in your life?
No.
I don't think I can't think that I did.
No, I think, nobody ever is like, oh, we need that guy. He's so insightful and studious and a genius of, it's like, no, forget it. That's his highest award, other than the cake baking, is a 5th place.
Well, now you could add the Heine National Association, because you are going to give out some Heinies today. The first Heine that we're going to give out is Keith Richards inspired it by saying the first album any non-Rolling Stones fan should listen to get started is Exile on Main Street. He got a lot of flack from his fans because they do not believe that to be true. Henry Morrison, can you bestow the first Heine of the day? What album should a non-Stones fan start with?
To get into the Stones,
Yep.
the first one.
Oh.
The first, well, no, not the first one. No, that wouldn't work. You would have to, because you want to hook them. You want to hook them.
So maybe is there a single or an album that you can think of that they should listen to first?
Besides Exile on Main Street?
Well,
which one does have, like, Satisfaction on? Maybe you would get, like, Beggar's Banquet. Something with, like some greatest hits or something. But,
it's a good one.
It's, so, I mean, otherwise, well, Exile on Main Street, I think the Stones album, my fave is really probably Get Your Yayas Out. I like the live stuff.
I do love that one. And then they released the outtakes so that they now, have a special edition. So there's more songs from that. Yeah, it's a great one. The Heine goes to Get Your Yayas Out, and great album cover with the great Charlie.
I think if you were going to time travel back and go around to concerts, you would want to travel to like 1969.
Okay.
And just start hitting the Altamont race. Well, no, not that.
Not the front row of that concert.
You'd probably want to be at the Apollo Theater somewhere listening to. You would be able to, you could probably get some Doors, Jimi Hendrix, the Stones, the Who.
That would be
at what I consider their height. I consider that that period in there to be kind of the golden era of rock and roll.
Yeah, I would say 69 to 72 for me, because 72 culminates some spectacular, oh my gosh, some of the best live albums that I have ever heard really do come in that short window. So agreed. My Heine, and you kind of alluded to it, Exile is the one Keith picked. I would pick that too. So really our Heine goes out to Exile, but Get Your Yayas Out is your live version of the Heine.
I still, I hate to be, when it came out, it was like, can you please turn that off? I think we've heard it enough. But over the years, Frampton Comes Alive, I can just listen to that endlessly. Like my neighbor, Michelle Mitchell, did endlessly when it came out.
Yeah. Another guitarist said, there's not a single, he said, if that never did overdubs, like most of the bands, if they didn't, he said, there is not one single mistake. There's no guitar mistake in the entire double album. Incredible. I can listen to that album over and over again. Everybody else could too. There wasn't a single human alive that did not have Led Zeppelin 4, Frampton Comes Alive, and what was another huge one? Rumors. Everybody had Dark Side of the Moon. Those were like every person in America had them.
And Herb Alpert, Tijuana Brass. Whipped Cream, whatever that album was. Everybody goes to the thrift store. They come back, oh, look what I found. I found Herb Alpert, the one with the girl and she's naked and the whipped cream. I found that album. It's like, there are 10 of those in every thrift store. That's where they all went.
It was saucy. Yeah, the ones with the naked bodies in them were popular albums. Well, so we have bestowed our first Heine out, and it goes to Get Your Yayas Out and Peter Frampton Comes Alive. He then toured with David Bowie, and I mean he collaborated with everybody after that.
So Johnny, have you since it is Oscar season, have you seen any movies? Have you seen any of the top-rated movies that are up for
many
Oscars
this
year? Not Emmys.
have
Those come
seen
later.
Dune 2, which was spectacular. Ooh, I loved everything about Dune 2. So that's the only one I've seen. That's the problem. Isn't that part of the problem with the Oscars? You never, like, they're never available to watch unless you race to, like, the eastern shore of New York City. So, you know what I mean? You can't see those movies. They're not released.
Didn't you see, you haven't seen like Wicked. It's got
Eh,
Ariana Grande and the
eh,
Green Face and the Oompa Loompas, who I believe are in.
The the Oompa
Oh,
Loompas. I think that was Timothy
is that a different
Chalamet's
movie?
previous years. Yes, I did see Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with the gorgeous Timothy Chalamet, who is up for his movie is up for an Oscar in the Bob Dylan flick. Which no, I haven't seen that one either. But we reviewed we reviewed the exact time period of Bob Dylan's life that is part of the movie called The Complete Unknown. We reviewed that, so I know all about his feelings about that time period. And it was a great autobiography, really great autobiography. The Complete Unknown is just a really small slice. In actuality, like you were saying, the best part of music for you live was that 69 to 72. Well, it just cuts a little tiny bit of his life and his experience with the public. So that's the only one that I'm really familiar with. Dune and The Complete Unknown. Those are really it. The only other movie that your wife said I should watch, Amelia Perez. I watched chunks of that. Do you know anything about this movie?
Amelia Perez?
Yeah.
Are there flying monkeys?
There are no flying monkeys, but
Yeah,
um,
I don't know. No, what is the premise of the film?
a notorious, murderous, human trafficking, heroin, fentanyl selling drug lord decides to get a second lease on life and does charitable things for a period of his life. And he changes dramatically in it. That's kind of the arc of the movie. It has a whole bunch of singing and dancing. So I had to fast forward through everything that stopped reality and they started singing and the dancing because Johnny don't like the musicals at all. So there will be no Heine given out for Amelia Perez. But as a redemptive arc, if redemptive arcs are your thing and you love singing, it's the type of movie, Henry, that if I was a director, is exactly like the Hallmark movies. You just we've talked about how much we love the Hallmark movies. You take 7 things and then you write the movie and you have a gorgeous Hallmark movie. Well, in this case, you take 7 things that you think would win an Oscar and then you make that movie. And that's, in my opinion, that's this movie. 7 things that you think would be.
Are those 7 things? Is it the bump in?
You really, really want to have something that's kind of controversial and that no one in their right mind would accept or be interested in watching for 2 hours. You put that in your movie and you'll get people cheering for you in France.
Like Hogan's Heroes, where it's a funny comedy set in German prison camp.
A Stalag.
Nobody
Stalag
saw that
19.
coming.
People love that.
With the hilarious commandant.
A wacky, zany sergeant. I know nothing.
There's some
I see
some
nothing.
zany Gestapo agents.
Nazis can be so fun as long as it's viewed from a certain point of view. Well, that's Amelia Perez. Also, one thing that they didn't pre-fabricate in their seven items is that the star of your film would have a couple of years ago said how much they hate Muslims and how and and how much they dislike black people. When that comes out, there's a tiny pushback on the movie that you star in. So yeah.
Well, then maybe when he's accepting his award, the Fresh Prince will come up and bitch slap him.
Speaking of that, were you a humongous Will Smith fan? I mean, that's the biggest, most notorious ever in Oscars history. Did you see that live? And were you a big Will Smith fan?
I was there, and I would say Will Smith has made some movies that I have enjoyed and liked.
Yeah, five of his films were like the biggest films I'd ever seen. Bad Boys, Independence Day, that one where he's a crazy drunk superhero. Oh my gosh, really funny.
One where he is a wannabe stockbroker trolling the subways of New York City.
Yeah,
that was my favorite. What's that one?
So up to that point, up to the slap, I was a big Will Smith fan. They estimate he lost $1 billion deal that day, and this tells you how, how I was kind of saying the Oscars there's 7 things that will probably get you an Oscar nomination. The Oscars banned him from the Oscars. They came down with the decision, hey, 2022, he can't appear in the Oscars for 10 years.
Will he be in handcuffs?
He's on his apology tour. Remember when Hugh Grant got caught with a hooker, and then people were very, very disheartened by this. And then Hugh Grant went on the Jay Leno apology tour. Well, Will Smith is on his apology tour. So, oh well. So to answer the question, I will not be nominating him for a Heiny Award today. I was behind you on your Rolling Stones Heiny Award. I would not support a Heine nomination for Will Smith. I watched it live like you. I thought just for a second, of course, like a lot of people, that it was fake. And of course it wasn't, find out later it was not. $1 billion. Tough to lose $1 billion. That's the most notorious movie. What big Oscar movie stands out in your mind that you really loved? Is there one that you really, really rewatch a lot?
Well, I would like to nominate, I would, for me, best actor of the year goes to Adam Driver for his portrayal of Commendatore Ferrari in the movie Ferrari. And as a special note, I think I would give him a special award for best push start scene in a Peugeot. And the movie leaves you wondering, was he push starting did he roll start the Peugeot to not wake his lover?
He was.
Or did he really just have a bad starter motor?
The movie
And
led us to believe he was just trying to get out of the driveway, but
that's uh, it was in the film. An inaccuracy was the film shows him driving it's a Peugeot. In reality, I think he drove a Fiat 1100 during that time period because he was spending all of his money on the racing effort and was nearly
bankrupt.
bankrupt. So that is my shout out for best actor,
No,
Adam
that's not your
Driver,
shout out. You're part of
Ferrari.
an academy. No, he is nominated for
No,
best actor of the Heine.
he won.
Oh,
He's the winner. I would just
give it to him. Let's do some. We shall go back in case this is you just walked in. You want to know what Heinies have been given out. The first Heine was given to the Stones, Exile on Main Street, and Get Your Yayas Out. Number 2, Adam Driver in Ferrari. Bless you. Bless you, Adam. Adam has been playing a lot of Italians, and he was spectacular in that movie. For those of you who've not seen Ferrari, humongously entertaining movie. Because Allison and I watched that movie, then we had to go back and watch Ford versus Ferrari with Christian Bale and Matt Damon, and also fantastic. That was a fantastic one. So I applaud your Heine nomination and win, Adam Driver. Any older movies? I mean, that's a very current movie. Any older movies that got an Oscar and they made a lot of money? Gone with the Wind. Have you ever watched that? That's the biggest money maker and award winner in history.
well, of course, I have seen Gone with the Wind.
And
That well, it's a great film. It's a great
ringing
film.
endorsement. For those of you who don't know, that was a ringing endorsement of.
I like have you seen if you want to go with Vivian Lee, didn't she win? Wasn't she in Streetcar Named Desire with Marlon Brando? And
Stella.
that is I think that's a depressing and great film. He's just all the twists and turns of Brando being kind of the sadist, and his wife Stella is the masochist, and then Vivian Lee's just the victim there. It's the movie that's a classic.
It changed. Brando changed acting. It went from the Jimmy Stewart type of acting, Bob Hope and that type of acting. It changed that day. I mean, it's the day he started acting, everybody's like, oh, I mean, really modern acting is now because of him. So everything before him is a certain style, and everything after him is really something very, very different. So our lifetime achievement, Heine, number 3 goes to A Streetcar Named Desire and Brando.
People, I talk to people now and they say, like, I don't watch any old, they'll say, oh, I watched an old movie. I saw Elf.
No,
it's like anything before that, I'm not watching.
Yeah, they're not interested. Trouble is, they're very engaging movies. I mean, if it's probably maybe the black and white nature of movies bothers some folks, They don't like that. But boy, there's some awfully exciting movies that have been created, and certainly a lot more super original screenplays are used for them nowadays. It's pretty much to get a movie in a theater to make some money. It's got to probably be a remake. You got to have some built-in fans for them to greenlight it. So that's the nature of.
Or a Marvel comic book.
Yes. Speaking of Marvel comic books, one of just so we all know, like the most impressive movies that are coming up that everybody's excited about, one of them is The Falcon and the Snowman, where we see the red, angry Hulk, played by Han Solo. You know we're in trouble if that movie is an anticipated movie. That's already out and in theaters from Disney. So, yeah, it's the state of getting movies made is very low ebb now. No Heine for Falcon and the Snowman. No.
Really, harkens me back to the prime period of the excellent films that were being made. I really am just drawn to the artistry and magic of Elvis Presley in Clambake. There is Bill Bixby, their Clambake, gonna have a Clambake. I don't think, the irony of the film is, I don't ever think in the film they actually have a Clambake.
No, but the title is really, it's made for movies, right? Clambake. I love it. There is an award. I mean, Elvis fans, the people that were Elvis fans, like everybody was an Elvis fan. Like all the autobiographies we talked about, Bob Dylan, Elton John, Keith Richards, all of them that wrote autobiography, all pointed to Elvis. Like that's what started them. Well, they lost a little bit of respect when actor Elvis started. Speaking of a time when things changed, well, that would be that moment when he was writing music for the movies and just filming movies with everybody in the sun. It's Las Vegas, huge music hits, but oh boy,
I love Elvis was making just great car movies. They were, because you had Elvis. I mean, have you seen Viva Las Vegas? Anne Margaret is outstanding. She is at the prime of her life.
That 100%. 100%.
And if you look at the cast of that movie, you've got Triumph TR3, Triumph TR4, Elva, some of Max Balchowski's Junkyard Dog Old Yellers that we've seen at Palm Springs, some Ferraris, and then scene changes where they're wrecking a car that is, a Ferrari is about to get in a wreck, and then it suddenly transforms from a Ferrari to an old Jaguar that goes tumbling off the cliff. Classic film. William Demarest, I'm trying to bake a cake, Uncle Charlie. And then a follow-up film to that is Spin Out with the incomparable Shelley Fabares.
Ooh.
Remember her from the co-star of Coach?
Heck yeah.
Coach's wife. I mean, an Oscar for her.
And now a Heine.
No.
Number 4, Shelley Fabares. Not for her work in the memorable Coach television show, but for her theatrical work. You're welcome, Shelley. You have become suddenly very adept at this Academy of Heine now. I'm feeling like we've created a monster. My wife loves the show Coach. He watches it all the time. Loves the Coach. It was also in a fantastic rom-com with Ryan Reynolds, and he was a grumpy dad. He was the grumpy, misunderstood dad.
And the title of that film would be Coach Goes Wild?
Coaches Gone Wild. No, I think it was 2 weeks. No, not 2 weeks notice. That was Sandra Bullock in another one. I think that one was I don't know.
Let's just go with The Lost Weekend.
It was the Lost Weekend. One thing that was interesting about that show, though, it's set in Alaska, so not a whole lot of Alaska movies, and so the sun never sets, and they have shots of the sun just going around the horizons, which is kind of cool. Lots of incredible scenery. So cinematography was fantastic, and Sandra Bullock plays a Canadian who, as you know, are nothing but trouble.
Speaking of foreign women in film,
Yes.
I would like to hand out my Best Actress award at this point.
And the nominee is?
The winner is Penelope Cruz for her portrayal of Laura Ferrari in the film Ferrari. I mean, if there's something that makes me crazy, it's angry Italian women.
She was great.
Hot. It's like I can see how Enzo
spicy
rubbling through the leftovers of World War II said, "Oh, I like this gal." But only until she got too angry.
I love it. I've noticed your Heiny Awards for this year have tended to revolve around a particular film. Not that I'm saying anything, but if you want to get a Heiny next year, there's 7 things you need to put on your list for your movie so that you'll get a Heiny nomination. One of them is a Ferrari.
Let me make a little precursor. What do you call that? A foreshadowing of next year.
Ooh, that was very artistic.
Next year, I suspect a Best Actor award for, of all people, Brad Pitt. Thinking on that, Johnny? Think about that.
You believe there's a chance Bradley will be getting a Heine nomination next year because of what, pray tell?
I think there's a new movie coming out about it could be, it's either boiling shellfish on the beach or it's about Formula One. It's one or the other. Either one will get him the Heine.
It's not the one that's getting the nomination isn't Clambake 2, but might be a Formula One themed. Well, that's a precursor. He's on the list. He's red hot and on the Heine list. All right. We are at the part of the program where we do want to find out some information. What is the worst movie you have ever seen? Is there any worst movie you've ever seen that like pops in your mind? One that you walked out of or didn't make it through?
I went on a date with Chris, and we walked up to the movies, and it's like, well, what movie should we go see? Oh, let's go see this movie. It looks like a fun movie about a Hollywood actress in the 1970s, or in the 1920s and 30s, back in the Hollywood's golden era.
Era.
And so it starred, I think it's Jessica Lange, maybe?
It is Jessica Lange.
It was the movie Frances.
Frances.
And we went in, and it started out innocuously enough, and suddenly she was in the mental institution. And when they said, we're going to do the lobotomy, we're out. It's like,
It's a
this
happy
movie's
film.
been fun. But I
Ouch.
think Clambake is playing across the hall.
Let's go get me some clam bake. Yeah, Frances.
This was just not a date film.
Frances is rough. Yeah, when you see the lobotomized sections, it's a real crowd pleaser. So brutal.
A beautiful woman getting a lobotomy.
Oh, that's set women's rights and how we abuse them right up the charts with that movie. Yeah, rough. And Jessica Lange, she's fantastic. Oh my gosh, she is such a fantastic actress. And that movie, brutal. That to me,
She get an Oscar for it or something like that. It's like,
was
oh.
she fantastic, right? She's really great in it, and the film is so unsettling. Ooh, brutal. That's a real horror movie because it really happens.
Yes.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger is all in good fun. We all know that. The real horror movies are
So
what.
what movie have you walked out of?
Well, terrible movies nowadays are, they're just so bad they don't get to the movie theaters, and you end up seeing them later. You see them on streaming. So yeah, movies that are worthy of being walked out on are now, it's so easy to trample on the Marvel stuff. The superhero movies. They're so bad. They're really so bad that I don't even, you can't pick. There's too many. There's so many horrendous superhero movies, and they're also not popular either. People can't stand them.
We went
Morbius.
through a period of saying, well, we would we would see movies that were shot around our house. And so one night I had to go do a midnight conveyor run, and so I am driving through the New Mexico town of Madrid at
Film set.
12:30 at night, and the town has been transformed into, it's got big banners saying Madrid County Fair, and it's like, there's no Madrid County. There's a city called Madrid, but no Madrid County. And at 12:30 at night, they've got the traffic blocked off, and they hold me up, and I drive through town, and they are shooting scenes everywhere in that little town for the cinematic classic Wild Hogs.
Oh.
which was the #1 film in America for like 3 weeks, and
Absolutely.
inexplicably bad movie.
And their Wild Hogs got sequel. Are you kidding? Make a sequel. When you're #1 for 3 weeks, you're getting a sequel.
Did they do a sequel? I don't think they did that.
Well, they didn't do it in your yard. They didn't do the sequel in your yard. If it got #1 for 3 weeks, they made a sequel.
It's like, oh man. That we had a film filmed in our house right here called Echo Boomers, and it went straight to video.
I watched it. I watched it before I got to see your walls.
Oh, really? You saw that movie?
Oh yeah, because when you showed me the drawings, I'm like, I just watched that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got movie history. It didn't win a Heine.
All the holes in the wall from that.
If you're out there spackling them up, nice job. Okay, all right. So enough fun and games. There is an Oscar-nominated individual that is so close to your heart. We'd like to end the pod on Kenny Loggins' emotional lyrics. Henry, take it away.
Through my tears, I've held them till I'm blind. They kept my hope alive, as if somehow that might keep you here. Once you believed in a love forevermore, how do you leave it? In a drawer. Everybody's getting footloose.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Checking In with Heine and Johnny. You can follow all things Heine and Johnny by subscribing to Checking In with Heine and Johnny anywhere you listen to podcasts. Checking In with Heine and Johnny is sponsored by Conveyors and Equipment. They supply, design, and service all types of conveyors, belting, and material handling equipment since 1972. With 3 locations to serve you, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, and El Paso. Find them on the web at conveyequip.com.